Breaking news: the Bangladeshi nuclear power plant, which was built in Moscow, has received its first shipment of uranium from Russia. Moscow is still working on the Rupur power plant, which will eventually be able to generate 2,400 megawatts of electricity once it is completed. Russia delivered the first batch of uranium to Bangladesh on Thursday, which will be used to power the country's lone nuclear power plant, which is still under construction in Russia. The completed plant is expected to improve the reliability of Bangladesh's electrical grid and contribute to the South Asian country's expanding economy. When both units of the Rupur power plant are operational, the plant will generate 2,400 megawatts of electricity, enough to supply about 15 million homes. Rosatom, Russia's state nuclear energy corporation, is building the plant. Moscow borrowed $11.38 billion to fund the project, with repayments stretching over 20 years beginning in 2027. Once Rupur starts production, Bangladesh will join more than 30 countries that run nuclear power reactors. On Thursday, in a ceremony held in Ishwardi, the northern district of Pabna, the uranium was officially handed over to the authorities after arriving in Bangladesh late last month. Both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina attended the ceremony via video conference. Putin estimated that once the plant is operational, it will provide enough power to meet the needs of about 10% of Bangladesh. He trained over D people in its construction, and people were employed. People were trained to operate it. 20,000 people were employed. Like what you've read so far? Subscribe here for unlimited access. Putin, together, we will build not just a nuclear power plant, but the entire atomic industry. Hasina reassured her country that the Rupur nuclear power plant is well protected against natural disasters and that Russia has agreed to retrieve the plant's spent fuel. The fuel was reportedly handed over to Bangladesh's Science and Technology Minister Ifesh Osman by Rosatom chief Alexei Likachev at a ceremony on Thursday, as reported by the United News of Bangladesh. The report did not include any additional information regarding the quantity of uranium that was transported. According to the report, International Atomic Energy Agency Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi also participated in the meeting via video conference. Osman was cited as saying the first unit at Rupur will become operational in July 2024 and the second in July 2025. The fuel should keep the reactor running for a year before more needs to be loaded. TVEL, a subsidiary of Rosatom, is responsible for producing the uranium at its Novosibirsk chemical concentrates plant in Russia. Traditional good relations between Bangladesh and Russia persist despite Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year. Dhaka and Moscow have signed a number of agreements to work together in the nuclear power industry, in trade and finance, and elsewhere. About half of Bangladesh's current electricity comes from natural gas, but the country has plans to reduce its reliance on this fuel source. At the same time that it has a long-term strategy to get 40% of its electricity from renewable sources like solar, wind, and hydroelectric power by 2041, it is also setting up coal-fired power plants.